Sarah Johnson thought her life was over when her father broke the news that she'd marry a stranger to save the family business. Worse, her husband-to-be, Kang Tae-min, was Seoul's most feared mafia boss and rumored to be gay. Their wedding was cold. Their marriage was colder. For 3 months, they lived like strangers in the same penthouse, until the night a rival gang broke in to kill her, and Taemin's reaction, the pure rage, the possessive fury, the way he held her like she was his entire world, shattered every assumption she'd made. Now Sarah's questioning everything, because a gay man doesn't look at his wife the way Tae-min is looking at her. Before we begin, besties, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You're supporting us this way. You're getting married. Sarah Johnson stared at her father across his office desk, certain she'd misheard him. I'm sorry, what? You're getting married, he repeated. To Kang Tae-min. The wedding is in 3 weeks. The room spun. Papa, this is a joke, right? Some kind of... It's not a joke, Sarah. Her father's voice was tired, defeated. Our business is failing. We're 3 months from bankruptcy. Mr. Kang has offered to invest $20 million in exchange for a marriage alliance. A marriage alliance? She gasped. This isn't the 1800s. You can't just sell me. I'm not selling you. I'm saving this family. Your mother's medical bills, your brother's school fees. The workers who depend on us for their livelihood. He wouldn't meet her eyes. This is the only way. Sarah felt tears burning. And I don't get a choice? We're out of choices. That night, Sarah researched her future husband, Kang Tae-min, 34 years old, Korean-Chinese billionaire, owner of Kang Industries, which everyone knew was a front for one of Seoul's most powerful mafia organizations. And according to every gossip blog and whisper network, he was gay. The Ice Prince of Seoul, one article called him, never seen with women, refuses to discuss his personal life, rumored to have a long-time male partner he keeps secret. Another. Why would Korea's most eligible bachelor refuse every woman thrown at him unless he's not interested in women at all? Sarah called her best friend Amara, sobbing. They're marrying me to a gay mafia boss. My life is over. Maybe he's not gay. Maybe it's just rumors. Everyone says it, Amara. She cried. Everyone. I'm going to be a trophy wife to a man who doesn't even want women. I'll live in a foreign country, married to a stranger who'll probably ignore me while he lives his real life with someone else. Then refuse. Say no. I can't. My family needs this. My mother needs this. Sarah wiped her tears. I have no choice. 3 weeks later, Sarah stood in a private plane heading to Seoul, leaving everything she knew behind. Seoul in November was nothing like Lagos, cold, gray, unwelcoming. Sarah stood in the private terminal, wrapped in a coat that didn't quite keep out the chill, waiting to meet the man she'd marry tomorrow. A black Mercedes pulled up. The door opened. And Kang Tae-min stepped out. Sarah's breath caught. He was devastating, tall, perfectly built, with sharp features that looked carved from marble. His black hair was styled perfectly, his expensive suit fitted to perfection, and his eyes, cold, dark, assessing, swept over her once before he spoke. Miss Johnson, I'm Kang Tae-min. Welcome to Seoul. His English was perfect, his tone completely businesslike. Thank you for agreeing to this, Sarah said, trying to match his formality even though her heart was pounding. It's mutually beneficial. Your father gets his investment. I get... He paused, something flickering in his expression. A wife? For appearances. There it was. The confirmation. This was just business. Right, appearances. My assistant will take you to the penthouse. The wedding is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Everything has been arranged. You just need to show up. Don't I get a say in? The contracts have been signed. The agreement's made. There's nothing to discuss. His tone was final. I'll see you at the ceremony. He got back in his car and drove away, leaving Sarah standing there, fighting tears. This is my life now, she thought. Married to a stranger who can't even pretend to want me. The penthouse was enormous. Modern, expensive, cold. Just like her future husband. Tae-min's assistant, a stern woman named Mrs. Kim, showed Sarah to her room, a beautiful bedroom suite that, she was informed, was completely separate from Mr. Kang's private quarters. Mr. Kang values his privacy, Mrs. Kim said. You'll have your own space. He expects you to attend public events as needed, but your private lives will remain separate. So we're roommates who happen to be married. Mrs. Kim's expression didn't change. Essentially, yes. That night, Sarah lay in her massive bed in her beautiful room in her cold penthouse and cried herself to sleep. The wedding was exactly what Sarah expected. Beautiful, expensive, and completely hollow. She wore a designer dress that cost more than her family's house. Tae-min wore a perfect tuxedo. They stood in front of Seoul's elite, business associates, politicians, people whose names she recognized from international news, and recited vows that meant nothing. I do, Tae-min said, his voice emotionless. I do, Sarah echoed, feeling like she was signing away her soul. The kiss was perfunctory, a brief press of lips that lasted exactly 1 second before Tae-min pulled away. At the reception, he was the perfect groom, attentive in public, his hand on her back, introducing her to important people. But his touch was impersonal. His smile didn't reach his eyes. The moment they were alone in the car heading home, the performance ended. That went well, he said, checking his phone. The shareholders seemed satisfied. Glad I could help your business image? He glanced at her. That's what this is. You understand that, correct? Crystal clear. Good. Then we won't have any complications. They rode the rest of the way in silence. 3 months. 3 months of living like ghosts in the same space. Tae-min left for work before Sarah woke up. Came home after she'd gone to bed. They saw each other at mandatory public events, charity galas, business dinners, society functions, where he'd hold her hand and smile and play the devoted husband. Then they'd come home and return to being strangers. Sarah tried to adapt. She enrolled in Korean language classes at a local university, made a few friends among other international students, explored Seoul on her own. But every night, she came home to an empty penthouse and a husband who treated her like furniture. How's married life? Amara asked during one of their video calls. Lonely. Sarah's voice cracked. He's never here, and when he is here, he's not here. He's just existing in the same space. Have you tried talking to him? About what? He makes it clear this is just business. I'm here to smile at events and make him look like a family man. That's it. Sarah, this isn't sustainable. I know, but what choice do I have? Go home and watch my family lose everything? At least this way, they're safe. But she was miserable. Then, slowly, things started changing. Small things. Barely noticeable at first. Tae-min started coming home for dinner occasionally. He'd sit across from her at the dining table, eating in silence, but present. One evening, he asked, "How are your Korean classes going?" Sarah nearly dropped her fork. What? Your classes. Mrs. Kim mentioned you're studying at the university. Oh, they're good. I'm learning. Good. He returned to his food, and that was it. But it was something. A week later, she found a note on the kitchen counter. I'll be traveling to Tokyo for business. Back Wednesday. TM. He'd never told her his schedule before. Never bothered to let her know where he was. Another week. He stayed for dinner and asked about her day. Actually listened to her answer about her marketing class and the project she was working on. You studied marketing in Lagos? He asked. Business marketing. I was supposed to start my master's degree before... She trailed off. Before your father arranged this marriage. Yes. Tae-min was quiet for a moment. You could continue your studies here. Seoul National University has an excellent program. I could? Why not? You're already taking Korean classes. You clearly want to learn. I'll have Mrs. Kim arrange it. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I'm offering. His eyes met hers. You shouldn't put your life on hold because of this arrangement. It was the kindest thing he'd ever said to her. Thank you, Sarah whispered. Something shifted after that. Subtle. Barely there, but real. They started having conversations, brief ones, mostly at dinner, about her classes, his work, neutral topics that didn't require emotional investment, but it was more than they'd had before. One night, Sarah was working on a paper at the dining table when Tae-min came home earlier than usual. Still working? He asked. Due tomorrow, I'm almost done. He disappeared into the kitchen and returned with tea, made exactly how she liked it, with honey and lemon. Sarah stared at the cup. How did you know? You make it the same way every morning. I pay attention. He paused. Don't stay up too late. He left before she could respond. Sarah looked at the tea, feeling something crack open in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't as cold as he pretended to be. It happened on a Thursday night. Sarah was alone in the penthouse, working on her laptop in the living room when she heard it, the sound of the front door opening, quietly, carefully. But Tae-min wasn't supposed to be home for hours. Fear flooded through her. She grabbed her phone, but before she could dial, a man appeared in the doorway. Not Tae-min, a stranger, with a gun. Don't scream, he said in Korean. Sarah screamed anyway. The man lunged forward, grabbing her arm, the gun pressed against her temple. Shut up! Where is he? Who? I don't know what you're talking about. Kang Tae-min, where is he? He's not here. Please. I don't know anything. Liar! You're his wife. You know everything. The gun pressed harder against her head. Sarah's vision blurred with tears. This was it. She was going to die in this cold penthouse, married to a man who barely knew her. The front door slammed open. Get away from her! Tae-min's voice, but not like she'd ever heard it. Raw, furious, desperate. Everything happened in seconds. Tae-min moved like lightning, disarming the intruder, slamming him against the wall with brutal efficiency. The gun skittered across the floor. The man tried to fight back, but Tae-min was faster, stronger, fueled by rage. You touched her! Tae-min's fist connected with the man's face. Again. You put a gun to her head. Tae-min, stop! Sarah's voice broke through his fury. You're going to kill him. Tae-min froze, fist raised, breathing hard. His security team burst through the door, immediately restraining the intruder. Get him out of here, Tae-min growled. Find out who sent him. I want names by morning. The moment they were gone, Tae-min turned to Sarah. His hands shook as he cupped her face, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? Did he hurt you? Talk to me, Sarah. I'm okay. But her voice was trembling, tears streaming down her face. Tae-min pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. God. When I got the security alert, when I saw him with that gun. How did you know? Panic button. You triggered it when you tried to call. His voice was muffled against her hair. I've never been so terrified in my life. Sarah pulled back to look at him. Really look at him. His perfect composure was shattered. His eyes were wild, his hands still shaking as they held her face. This wasn't the cold businessman. This wasn't the distant stranger. This was a man who just thought he might lose something precious. Tae-min, I can't lose you. The words burst out of him. I know this isn't real. I know this is just an arrangement. But the thought of something happening to you. He stopped, jaw tight. I can't. Why? Sarah whispered. Why do you care? Because you're mine. The possessiveness in his voice shocked them both. The rumors, the arrangement, the business deal, none of that matters. You're my wife. You're mine to protect. And I will burn down anyone who tries to hurt you. Sarah's heart pounded. The rumors about you being gay. Lies. All of it. His thumb brushed her cheek. I let people believe it because it was easier than dealing with matchmaking mothers and gold diggers. I built walls to protect myself from a world that sees everything as transactional. But you... His voice softened. You were never supposed to matter. This was supposed to be business. Just business. And now? Now I come home early hoping to see you. Now I make your tea the way you like it. Now I ask Mrs. Kim about your day when you're not around, because I want to know what makes you smile. He laughed bitterly. I'm falling for my own wife, and I don't know what to do about it. Sarah's breath caught. You're falling for me? I've been falling since the moment you called me out for being cold at dinner, since you refused to be intimidated by my reputation, since you walked through my door and brought color into my gray world. His forehead rested against hers. I'm sorry I've been such a coward. I'm sorry I wasted 3 months pretending I didn't care. I thought you didn't want me. I thought I was just a business arrangement. You're everything. And I'm terrified of that. But I'm more terrified of losing you. Sarah looked into his eyes, those dark, intense eyes that weren't cold anymore. They were burning with emotion, with want, with something that looked an awful lot like love. Kiss me, she whispered. Sarah, kiss me like you mean it, like I'm not just a contract, like I'm yours. Tae-min's control shattered. The kiss was nothing like their wedding kiss. It was desperate, consuming, 3 months of suppressed desire and denied feelings erupting all at once. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Tae-min pulled her close again. I'm not good at this, he admitted. Relationships, feelings, being vulnerable. My world doesn't allow for weakness. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be real with me. I can do real. He smiled, a genuine, beautiful smile she'd never seen before. Starting now, no more walls, no more pretending. No more separate rooms? His eyes darkened with heat. Definitely no more separate rooms. The next 3 months were nothing like the first 3. Tae-min was still the head of a criminal organization, still dangerous, still had responsibilities that took him away sometimes. But he came home. To her. Always to her. They had their first real date, a private dinner on the penthouse terrace, where Tae-min was awkward and formal until Sarah laughed at him and he relaxed. They had their first fight, about him coming home at 3 a.m. with blood on his shirt and refusing to tell her details about his business. I need you to trust me, he'd said. I need you to let me in, she'd countered. This works both ways, Tae-min. They'd made up. Spectacularly. Tae-min started teaching her about his world, not the details that would put her in danger, but enough that she understood the pressures he faced, the enemies he dealt with, the constant threat that came with his position. And Sarah shared her world, her family, her dreams, her fears about never being good enough, smart enough, Korean enough. You're more than enough, Tae-min told her one night, holding her close. You're everything I didn't know I needed. He took her to Nigeria 6 months after the break-in. Not as a business obligation, not for appearances, as her husband, meeting her family because he loved her. "Papa," Sarah said, standing in her father's office with Tae-min beside her. "I want you to meet my husband. My real husband. Not the business arrangement, the man I chose to love." Her father's eyes filled with tears. "Sarah, I'm so sorry for forcing this on you, for treating you like... I forgive you. And I understand. You did what you thought you had to do." She squeezed Tae-min's hand. "But it doesn't change the fact that I deserved a choice. That I'm a person, not a bargaining chip." "You're right. You're absolutely right." Her father looked at Tae-min. "And you? Are you treating my daughter well?" "Better than well." Tae-min's arm wrapped around Sarah's waist. "She's my partner, my equal, the most important person in my world. I would die before I let anything happen to her." Her father nodded slowly. "Then you have my blessing. For real this time. Not as a business deal, but as a father to the man who loves his daughter." 1 year after their wedding, Kang Industries held its annual gala. The same people who'd attended their cold, business transaction wedding were there. The same whispers about Tae-min's sexuality, the same speculation about his arrangement with the Nigerian woman, until Tae-min took the stage. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice carrying through the ballroom. "As many of you know, this past year has been one of significant change for Kang Industries. But tonight, I want to talk about a different kind of change, a personal one." Sarah, standing in the crowd, felt her heart start to race. "A year ago, I married a woman I barely knew, an arrangement made for business reasons. Many of you speculated about why, about my reasons, about rumors that have followed me for years." The room went silent. "I let those rumors persist because they were convenient, because they protected me from expectations I didn't want to meet. But they were lies." His eyes found Sarah in the crowd. "And I'm tired of living in a lie when the truth is standing right there." He walked off the stage, through the crowd, directly to Sarah. "The truth is that I fell in love with my wife. Not because I had to, not because it was arranged, but because she's brilliant, strong, beautiful, and refuses to let me hide behind walls I've built." He took her hands. "The truth is that this Nigerian woman, this incredible, frustrating, perfect woman, saved me from a life lived in shadows." Tears streamed down Sarah's face. "So let me make this clear to everyone in this room. Sarah Kang is not a business arrangement. She's my wife, my partner, my best friend, the love of my life, and anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me personally." The room erupted in applause. Tae-min pulled Sarah into his arms and kissed her, not a quick press of lips, but a real, deep, consuming kiss that left no doubt about his feelings. When they finally pulled apart, Sarah was laughing and crying at the same time. "You just told all of Seoul you love me. I told all of Seoul you're mine. There's a difference." He smiled. "Though I do love you. Desperately. Completely. Forever. I love you too. Even though you're dramatic and possessive and a little bit crazy." "A little bit? Okay, a lot crazy. Only for you." They danced that night. Not for appearances, not for business, but because they wanted to. Because they were happy. Because against all odds, an arranged marriage between strangers had become the kind of love people write stories about. 2 years later, Sarah sat in her office at Kang Industries, where she now headed the marketing division, reviewing proposals for their new community outreach program. Her phone buzzed. "Tae-min, come home. Now." "Sarah, I'm in the middle of..." "Now, wife. It's important." Sarah texted back immediately. "Are you hurt? Is something wrong?" "No," he replied. "Just come home, please." 20 minutes later, Sarah rushed into their penthouse, the same penthouse where she'd once felt so alone. but now felt like home. Tae-min? What's wrong? She stopped. Rose petals led from the entrance to the living room, candles everywhere, and Tae-min, standing by the windows, holding a small box. You scared me. I thought something was wrong. Nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect. He crossed to her, that intense look in his eyes that still made her heart race. We've been married for 2 years, together for almost as long, and I never properly proposed. You're proposing? We're already married. I'm re-proposing. The right way. The real way. He opened the box, revealing a stunning ring, nothing like the cold, expensive ring he'd given her at their arranged wedding. This one was personal, beautiful, with Nigerian and Korean design elements merged together. Sarah Johnson Kang, will you marry me? Not because our families arranged it, not because of business, but because I love you more than I thought it was possible to love anyone, because you're my home, my heart, my everything. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. You already know the answer. Say it anyway. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, then pulled her into his arms. I still can't believe this is real sometimes, Sarah whispered, that the cold stranger I married became the man I can't imagine living without. Believe it, because I'm never letting you go. Tae-min kissed her softly. You're stuck with this dramatic, possessive, crazy mafia boss for life. Good, because I wouldn't want anyone else. As they stood there, holding each other in the penthouse that had once felt like a prison, but now felt like home, Sarah thought about how far they'd come. From strangers to lovers, from business arrangement to real partnership, from cold formality to burning passion. All because one night, a break-in had shattered the walls they'd both built and revealed the truth neither of them had been ready to admit. Sometimes the person you're forced to marry is exactly the person you were meant to find. The end final message. Sometimes love comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes an arranged marriage becomes the greatest love story. And sometimes the rumors are wrong, the walls come down, and two people forced together discover they never want to be apart. If you enjoyed this story, besties, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Sarah and Tae-min's journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.